Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us for today's episode of Heat Press Nation Live. Usually we do a webinar, but there were some technical difficulties. And you know what? This is cool because we get to share this with everybody. This is going on our YouTube, on our Facebook. And we're talking about something really cool today, one of my favorite products, and I'm actually rocking it right now. Today we're talking about Inkjet heat transfer paper, and I'm gonna share with you everything you need to know about Inkjet heat transfer paper. I have my transfers already printed. If you see right over there, I got my Inkjet printer, I got my heat press, and we're gonna do some live demonstrations today, and we're gonna have a good time. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope my mic is on. I always do that. I always mess up, and my mic is muted, when I come on live. So anyways, so there's a couple things, and I'm just gonna dive right into it. If you have any questions at all, please feel free, pop into the comments here. Comments are open, so if whatever you wanna share, go ahead. You have any questions, I'm here for you guys today, all right? I know we started a couple minutes late, and so thank you for your patience. All right, I'm gonna dive right into it. Okay, so Inkjet heat transfer paper. If you're used to using heat transfer vinyl, then you know that you're using mostly you're doing one color at a time, right? So like you have a black t-shirt, you're gonna put some white text on there, maybe get if you wanna layer and get multiple colors, you have to cut, so let's say your image has 3 colors, right? It has black, red, and gold, whatever. I don't even know if those look good together. Your image has black, red, and gold. So if you're using heat transfer vinyl, you're gonna have to cut out your black vinyl, cut that, weed that. Then you're gonna have to cut your red vinyl, weed that, cut it, weed it, and your gold vinyl. You're gonna have to cut that and weed that. Not only that, when you're designing everything, you have to make sure your layers are lined up properly. Is there gonna be any overlap? Are you gonna knock it out? So there's some extra work that comes when you're doing multiple colors. Now, what if you wanted to do a photograph? Now, doing a photograph in heat transfer vinyl, it's possible, but it's tough. And sometimes you wanna get a full color image on your transfer, and you don't want to spend 46 minutes cutting it and weeding it out of your vinyl. And that's where heat transfer paper comes in. Oh, good, I see everybody tuning in here. What's up? My pal Jesse Gibson from West Virginia. We got Lord saying hello. Joanna's coming in from Winter Haven. Holly's here from San Antonio. We got Tiffany from Indiana. And let's see, we got Samantha from freezing South Dakota. We were freezing over here the other night. We got into the low 40s. Dude, I thought the world was gonna end. And so I'm sure if you're in South Dakota, I'm guessing you're at or below 0 right now in January. Or February, sorry. Got Myrna from Palm Coast, Margaret from Georgia. So good to see you guys. Angel coming in from Louisiana. Very cool. Anybody tuning in? There we go. We got Royal Arch coming in from New Jersey. Brian and Empress for Life are saying hi and hello. So glad you guys are joining us today. Yeah, so like I was saying about heat transfer vinyl, it's hard to get a photograph onto a t-shirt. So this t-shirt, this is a gigantic 11 by 17 transfer, by the way. So this, can you see it? Yeah. So this is the Challenger, shuttle at takeoff, right? I made this shirt right after I started here. So this shirt's almost 5 years old, in case you're wondering. You see it's faded. It's kind of faded out. This shirt is 5 years old, almost. Yeah, shout out RIP to the Challenger crew, amazing American heroes. Anyways, so sometimes you want to photograph on a t-shirt. There's no way I was gonna do this in vinyl. I'll just tell you right now. I could have, colorized it. I could have, edited it a little bit in Illustrator. I could have had a version of this in heat transfer vinyl, but having the actual photograph is not possible. So then you get into the question of, hey, I want to put photographs on t-shirts and I don't want to spend a bazillion trillion dollars. So where Inkjet heat transfer paper comes in. I love it because you are able to print full color graphics, you are able to print photographs and heat press them onto your t-shirts. Now, that might sound a little too easy, and so it actually is in some cases, and in some cases it might not be what you want. And that's why I wanted to share this with you guys today, because Inkjet heat transfer paper, it's magic in some cases, and then it's not garbage, but it's just oh, okay, cool. It's cool. In other cases, you know? So I'll share with you the strengths of inkjet heat transfer vinyl first, and then we'll talk about the weaknesses. And actually, before I talk about either of those, do me a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, go like the Heat Press Nation page. We'd really appreciate it. And also, if you're on Facebook, head on over to our group. That is actually, can I show that on screen? I think I can. Yes, I can. Oh, check this out. Oh no, oops, wrong one. There it is. Yeah. You can go to our HPN creators group right there. And I'm going to leave that on screen just so you guys can enjoy that. By the way, if you have any questions and you feel free to put them in the comments. I'm going to be doing lots of Q&A today. But you're ready to buy, or you have some questions before you buy, you can also reach out to us there, heat.press/support. Our phone number is there. You can go to our website to find our phone number, or just write this down, 800-215-0894 or 800-215-0894. Okay, enough plugging, all right? Although I will leave this one up. All right, you guys feel free to use that hashtag. Okay, so the process is really simple. You get your design, and you're going to need contour. You're either going to fill out the whole page. So with this, I filled out the whole page, all right? You see this transfer? It's a big, gigantic. This is a XXX t-shirt, by the way, guys. This is a huge 11 by 17 inch transfer. We sell our transfers 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17. So I didn't have to cut anything out. Here's the part of the process. You're going to want to have a vinyl cutter with contour cutting, which means it's going to put these marks. The cutter reads these little marks, and then it cuts it out to where you just have this. It goes from this to this. That's what your vinyl cutter will do. If you have a lot of time on your hands and you're really good with an X-Acto knife, by all means, knock yourself out. Yeah. So anyway, so you print it out. If you're not filling out the whole page, then you will have to contour cut it. And like I'm going to show you in a minute, you just heat press it to your shirt. And again, this shirt's it's a solid 4.5 years old. 4.5 years old. Probably been washed over 100 times. This is the softest shirt I own, and I'm always stealing it back from my wife because she loves it, because it's the softest shirt you'll ever wear after being washed like 120 times. Okay, so that's the process. You print it out, you cut it if necessary, and you heat press it to your shirt. It's so easy. Really, anyone can do it. Now you're saying, wait, if it's that easy, how come everyone's not doing it? Well, so those are the strengths. The strength inkjet printers. I have this Canon Pixma behind me. Do I have a good shot of that Pixma? Oh no. You see, I got my heat press already ready. Right there on the left, that's I have the corner of the Pixma. But you see it right over my shoulder, right here, right there. That's the printer. Okay. So yeah, so if it's so easy, how come everyone's not doing it? Well, it has its pros and it has its cons. So the pros are, if you're using light inkjet heat transfer paper, and I'm gonna use this to plug, some of you guys have heard me say this a trillion times, Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch. Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch. And I don't have my screen share, otherwise I would share my screen. I would show you exactly where to go on the website, but just know, if you go to heatpressnation.com, and the link will be, as soon as I get off camera, I'm going to update the description. So if you're watching a replay, just go to the description, link everything there. Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch is what this t-shirt transfer is. It's what this transfer is going to be, and it is amazing. So one of the strengths, so let's talk about the strengths of heat transfer paper. If you're using light inkjet heat transfer paper, it lasts a really long time. I have no problem calling this retail quality. Retail quality, yes, you heard me right. Again, this shirt, I've been wearing this shirt for almost 5 years now. That's retail quality. So if you're starting your own clothing line and you want to put photographs or solid images, and this is like one of the cons, but I'll tell you. So this image is just solid. There's no text, right? You notice there's no text. It's just a solid image. If you're doing photographs or solid images, this is perfect for your clothing line. So it's retail quality, all right? It's beautiful and amazing. If you're just doing picture shirts like this, you're putting like movie posters or, oh, well, no, sorry. If you have the proper rights to do that, of course. But you're putting your artwork, you're working with artists to get their artwork onto t-shirts, or you're using public domain stuff. But most of you guys don't know that a lot of the Hubble and NASA imagery is public domain for personal use. I don't know if it's commercial, but I only made this t-shirt for me, so it's good. Anyways, tangent, sorry. And I'll hop into the questions. I'll see if any questions came in right now. But for white or light colored t-shirts, heat transfer paper for solid images, not text or like little fancy intricate designs, it is beautiful. It's retail quality. It's cheap, relatively cheap compared to DTG. It is incredibly cheap and affordable and long lasting, and more people should be doing it, which is why I'm talking to you guys today. It's really warm in here, by the way. I know I apologize to my North Dakota pal who just, or one of the Dakota pals who just commented, but yeah, it's actually warm today. Anyways, so that's the pro. Now the cons, all right? So you see this, and it's probably not gonna get picked up, but you see this right there. You see the little part, this is still a solid image. The con is that you can't do text. Can't do text. If you need text on your t-shirts, get some heat transfer vinyl, order some, some pre-made plasticol transfers. Here's the con about heat transfer paper. And again, I'm telling you guys everything about heat transfer paper. I've been using it for years and I love it, but the con is that no text, no loose images, because remember, the vinyl cutter has to cut this out, right? And what happens to each individual letter? It just falls off because it's not connected, right? So solid images only. Now, some people have tried to mask their graphics, and if you can pull that off, more power to you. The Easy Subli Mask is super tacky, it's sticky. So if you can get your hands on some Easy Subli Mask and you want to mask your graphics, it's possible. It's possible to do text. Don't recommend it personally. It's just too cumbersome, and unless you're like selling really custom expensive things, like, because again, the labor that goes into it, like you have to pass off that cost to your customer. So if your customer is willing to pay you for it, by all means, go ahead. But if my customer is willing to pay me that much, I'll just outsource that job to my DTG buddies, okay? Where it really shines is solid images. Again, this big rectangle photograph, solid images, and where it kind of, I don't know what that word even means, but I just had to, where it does that is text, intricate images with really thin parts. Like, so you see on this one, and I'll hold it up against this white piece of paper. So you see the rocket ship, the end of the rocket ship, those are pretty thick. If those were any thinner or just went out and were really long, they'd be really difficult to heat press. So you don't want any thin little dangly pieces of your transfer. Again, solid images. Another con is for dark garments. Now, you've heard me call dark garments, specifically black cotton t-shirts, the holy grail of t-shirt customization. This is dark heat transfer paper, and I did cut it out. So it was on a sheet, like it was on this sheet, right, with the marks, but then I cut it out and I peeled it away. So if you look, you have to peel it, right? You see how it peels? Did I get that? There we go. So it peels. For dark garments, so when you're working with white garments or light colored garments, all the light colors in your transfer are supplied by the garment itself. So you see how, well, it's not that white anymore, but you see how my spaceship, and I'll just stand up for this, sorry. So you see how the spaceship and the clouds, you see all this white portion of the graphic, the smoke and all that? There's no white ink in your inkjet printer. So in order to get that white, the white of the t-shirt supplies those colors. Now for black t-shirts, or dark, I say black because I'm always pressing black t-shirts. I don't really mess around with like, I'll do navy every now and then. I don't mess around with a lot of colored t-shirts. We'll say dark colored t-shirts. So in order to get those colors, you actually have to supply it with the paper, which is why the paper, and I'll just pull this off here. I didn't cut this one yet, I just printed it. So you're actually printing onto a really thin film, very thin, all right? And the paper is going to provide that color on the t-shirt. And I'm gonna demonstrate this in just a moment. got my heat press ready. I got my prints ready. So I'm going to demonstrate this right now. So here's the thing. This is not vinyl. I'm not 100% sure what material is, but it's pretty thin. And because it's thin, it doesn't last incredibly long when washing it. So you'll get, for a solid image like this, right, on dark transfer paper, I would estimate that a big solid block of material will go about, if you wash it properly, you follow the wash instructions, it'll go about a dozen washes before it'll start to crack. And it's not gonna peel, but it will crack. And the cracking, you know, looks vintage sometimes. Sometimes it looks bleh. You know, sometimes I don't have words, so I just make dumb faces, all right? Sorry if that offends you. Yeah, and so with light transfer paper on white or light colored shirts, retail quality, 100%. With dark transfer paper, even the best dark transfer papers, we consider that promotional material. Meaning you're doing in memoriam t-shirts. When, you know, someone passes away, you want to put their photograph on a dark t-shirt. Most people are going to wear those shirts just once, twice maybe, and then they'll put them away as a commemorative item. It's great for that because they're not washing it a dozen, 25, 40 times. You know, with dark transfer paper, the more you wash it, the more it will wear. It doesn't wear like this. This transfer, you can't even feel it. It is so incredibly soft. This is light transfer paper for light colored garments. The dark transfer paper, it's thicker. So it doesn't wash this soft. It again, after so many washes, it will crack and start to just show some really visible signs of wear. A lot of people don't consider that retail quality. If you're buying something, when I say retail, something as good a quality that you're gonna get at a real life store, the big box. The t-shirts you get from Target, the t-shirts you get over, you know, from, I don't know, what other, I love Johnny Cupcakes. If you guys want to know a t-shirt entrepreneur who's just killing it, Johnny Cupcakes, you know, retail quality, stuff that people are going to pay like 25 bucks for, 20 bucks for, especially if you're charging those prices. So the pros, again, the pros of inkjet heat transfer paper for the light colored garments, dude, retail quality, super awesome. The cons are, you know, you're kind of limited to solid images, and the solid images thing goes for light or dark garments. Doesn't matter, same deal. And then also dark garments, they're not exactly retail quality, but they are great promotional items. One more thing about dark transfer paper is for hats. Now this, I didn't bring the hat because I just forgot. So it's not this hat. But I have used dark transfer paper on hats and it lasts a really long time because nobody washes their hats as frequently as they do their shirts. That's simple. People, they don't wash hats the same way they do shirts. So if you're using dark transfer paper, you could definitely put some cool transfers on your hats, and that I would consider that retail quality because hats just don't get washed the same way t-shirts get washed. Yeah. So I'm gonna take some questions right now, then we're gonna get over to our demonstrations. Let's see, Lords is saying she loves the pink heat press. Yes, been getting great feedback. I'm so glad we finally pulled the trigger on those. Lord's asking, can we use that transfer on dark colors? No, so again, because the t-shirt provides the white of this design, if you put a light transfer onto a dark shirt, the dark is just, all of the coloring is gonna get totally lost in the dark color of the shirt. You won't be able to see a darn thing. For the dark shirts, you really do rely on the white of the paper itself, or the material itself, to provide the background for your colors. So unfortunately, now you could use dark paper on light shirts. I don't know why you would, but you could. But you cannot use light paper on dark shirts. It unfortunately doesn't work that way. Great question. So Lords is asking, transfer paper needs to be printed in mirror mode or not. For light t-shirts, you're gonna mirror it, and for dark t-shirts, you're not. And it'll make more sense once I hop over to the heat press. We're gonna give an actual visual. I got my shirts right here. We're ready to roll. And yeah. Okay, great questions. Let's check YouTube. We got any questions? Oh, yes, we got some questions over here. Oh, here's a good testimonial. So Juan Carlos Cotto saying, I have an Epson Workforce 7810 with original inks. I use Nina paper for dark fabrics. Made many shirts and pressed with Teflon sheets. These shirts have more than 3 years and colors look great after 3 years. There we go. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're washing them according to the wash instructions. I don't know. Comment and let me know. That's really good actually. Having them hold up for 3 years. Another thing I will say about dark garments is the bigger your transfer, the more it's gonna get beat up in the wash. So actually, if you just have like a small chest logo, it'll last longer, believe it or not, than something this size. And if I had an even bigger dark transfer with just solid coverage, meaning a big, just solid piece of material, it wouldn't last as long as this one. And that's just because when it washes, that's just how the materials get beat up. Oh, you know what? Okay, so Milan is asking, what do I think about DTF printing? And then, no, it's not what you think, perfs. DTF stands for direct to film, which is different than direct to garment. Personally, I haven't even seen a DTF garment yet, so I haven't had a chance to touch them, feel them. Usually we go to the trade shows in January, but of course COVID's canceled that, so I have not been able to get my hands onto any sort of DTF material, so I have no clue, so I have no opinion on those. I personally do not like to speculate on things that I haven't actually felt and touched and washed and worn. So, okay, great question. Let's see. Oh, what? South Africa is saying what's up. Hello, hello, greetings, greetings. Brian is asking, what settings would you suggest for my vinyl cutter to cut out a heat transfer? I have a Roland GS24. Okay, that's a great question. So for light transfer paper, you need to cut all the way through the material. All right, all the way through. Whatever settings you use for cardstock should work for light transfer paper. Your blade, I would say, actually glitter settings. If you've cut heat transfer vinyl, glitter should be good. Again, this is pretty thin. For my Cameo, I just used the cardstock setting and it was perfect. You also want to have a thick cutting mat, and whether you have a Cameo or not, I use these Cameo cutting mats for everything. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I've used a Cameo cutting mat in a Puma, and a GCC, and a whatever. The Cameo cutting mats are dope. I love them. So make sure you have a cutting mat. Your force is going to be, if you want to cut all the way through, if you have a new blade, obviously, I love working with new blades. You're going to want your force to be at around anywhere from 90 to 120, depending on how old and crusty your blade is. The blade you want is sticking out just like barely deeper. Honestly, do a test cut with it at regular HTV depth, your blade, and if it doesn't cut at 100, then you could stick it out just a little bit more. But yeah, for light transfer paper, you want to cut all the way through, and for dark transfer paper, you only need to cut through the top layer. Again, it's a film on a thick paper backing, so you only need to cut the top layer. It's like identical to heat transfer vinyl. In fact, I use the exact same settings for heat transfer vinyl that I use for my cardstock. So if you've cut heat transfer vinyl, do a test cut. And yeah, make sure you have some extra sheets to do your test cuts, guys. Everybody's gonna be just a little bit different. Empress for Life is asking a link for the transfer paper. As soon as I get off camera, I'm gonna update the descriptions of these videos with the links. So yes, you'll just, unfortunately, actually, no, I could do it right now. What am I saying? Some of these, and this is how I know I've been working here too long. So you're gonna see it from Jared Barbosa, that's me. Today I'm using Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch for light. And then I'm also using Parapy Dark Pro for my darks. There we go, and you can find those at the links. Heat.press/inkjet HTP heat transfer paper. I have a lot of those dumb links off the top of my head. But I will update the descriptions afterwards. Okay, a couple more questions, and I'm gonna get straight on over to our demonstration. Okay, cut with the Cameo 3. I personally use the Cameo 3 at home. I still have my 3, and it's amazing. So for lights, try using the cardstock setting, and then for darks, use your heat transfer smooth setting. Those presets should work great. Of course, do your test cuts to make sure. Depending on how old how old your blade is, you may need to adjust a few things. Okay, let's see. Rick Tuck is asking, what temperature and what length of time to press for my inkjet photo paper? My print didn't want to stick and came out dull. Thank you. If the print's coming out dull with your inkjet printer, that's your print settings. So with sublimation, they always print dull, and then when you heat press them, the colors activate and they get all nice and pretty. With inkjet, how it comes out of the printer is pretty much how it's gonna look when you heat press it. So if they're coming out a little bit dull, you might wanna adjust your printer settings. I use on the Canon Pixma, it works great for me. I use plain paper, but the quality is set to high. You can fool around with different paper settings, like try like photo glossy. That might lay down a little too much ink. So you really want to test it out. Test press, test wash, all that stuff. If you oversaturate the ink on your print, you're gonna get a lot of what it's gonna wash out. So, and also if you use crummy heat transfer paper, it'll also wash out. These, no problem. So if you're using the Pixma, which is, I believe we have that in stock right now. I will double check actually. We should, these, no, gosh, they sold out fast. My goodness. Okay. So these Pixmas have been selling out like hotcakes. Like, well, I don't even know what to say about those. But yeah, you want to just use plain paper, but high quality settings to make sure that your colors look great and that you have a good quality on the print. Okay. Great questions. Okay, I'm gonna hop over. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna move the camera now. And it's a little wobbly. Here we go. Okay, so now I have it up close and personal. And we're gonna do the things. We're going to, we're gonna do the things. Okay, so now another reason, what's cool, and this is just coincidence, but both of these transfers press at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 seconds. So my arm, I'm sorry, I have a big arm. I'm gonna cross in front of the camera a lot. So my apologies for that. Now what I'm not gonna do right now is use like my T-square and get perfect alignment. You guys, I encourage you to do that, but I'm really showing the process here, not the process of heat transfer paper, not like the full-blown production line process. So you can see there. Now, when I pre-press, I usually don't smash it all the way, although I could. Actually, that pressure's a little firm, just where I like it. So I'll pre-press it. I like to use 100% cotton shirts. Just what I do. Now, this is our light transfer paper. And what I like about it is on the back, it'll say Jet Pro Soft Stretch, so I know what I'm pressing. And here's my transfer. If any of you guys understand this reference, let's get Dogecoin to $1. All right. So this one, I think it's supposed to look like this, right? It's supposed to be slightly angled. So, oh yeah, and so the grid lines will tell me how it is, but I want it like that. So basically, you're just going to position it. Now, light transfer paper goes ink side down. Underneath the ink, there's a thin film that gets heat pressed, and it kind of traps the ink and puts everything onto the shirt. So the magic is in the paper for sure. So we're just going to position it like so. I'm just kind of roughly positioning it. If you want to use some heat tape to hold the ends down, by all means, go for it. But what I've noticed is that if I place it right, I can just put my transfer paper, my parchment paper over it, and it'll stay in place. It's not going to be the case with the dark. The dark, you're going to have to get real crafty with that. Okay, so I got medium firm pressure. Firm it's a little bit above medium firm. It's almost totally firm. Drop this in there, slide it back in. We got 30 seconds on the clock. And there we go, 375 degrees. So you guys get to watch that, all right? Let me see. It's a little bit bright. Let's see if I can fix that live. There we go. Should have a better time seeing that now. This is the boring part, 30 seconds of this. Okay, so now here's a tip. All right? There are a couple ways to peel. Ideally, you're just gonna peel it hot, all right? Here's a great, now it's gonna be very hot, so be careful. What I like to do is I like to give it a little tuggy tug. It loosens everything up, and that'll usually open up an edge right here. You wanna pull it off in one smooth motion. There we go. And then you wanna give it just like a nice little tug, a nice little stretch, and then make sure that it cools in the original orientation. If you stretch it and it gets all wrinkly, you stretch it a little too hard. What that stretching does is while the printed material is still warm, it allows it to kind of seep into the threads. It just makes it really soft and really stretchy once everything settles. And dude, there you go. Is it on camera? You guys seeing that, right? Looks beautiful. Now, this is a ring spun t-shirt. Which means all the fibers lay flat. I highly recommend using ring spun t-shirts when you are working with heat transfer paper. Non-ring spun, the fibers of the shirt don't really lay flat, and sometimes like when you're peeling it, like little fuzzies will come up and it's just a little weird. So I definitely recommend using a ring spun t-shirt. Now here's the other thing. Look at this. Like almost 100% of the ink came off of the transfer. If you're seeing a lot of ink left behind, what you could do is you can heat press it for a little bit longer, add some time. Or if it's just a little too harsh when you pull it, it's like yanking up part of the shirt, or you just don't like the texture of the finish. Another thing you can do is when you peel, so you know it's fresh off the heat press, right? Take it off the heat press and let it cool down completely. You can peel this completely cold if you want to. And then after you peel it cold, bring it back over and you can press it again for like 15 seconds and it'll be dope. Don't do the little stretch until your final press. If you're gonna peel it cold, just wait till you hit it again with a parchment paper and that'll be good. If you peel it cold and you don't repress it, it's gonna have this sheen to it. It's gonna look a little glossy and it's not that cool. Doesn't look that good. So if you're gonna peel it cold, make sure you bring it back over to the heat press, repress it with some parchment paper for about 15 seconds. And there you go. This shirt, honestly, like, it's beautiful. This shirt can be washed and worn time and time again. And is it straight? I'm just holding it up. Yeah, I actually, you know what? I did a decent job. It's pretty much straight. So there we go. That's light transfer paper. I'm going to hop straight over to our dark transfer paper. So if you have any questions, please put them right there in the comments. I'm going to come back to the desk right now, take your questions, and yeah, there we go. So this one, I'm going to do my best to align it right. I'm going to pre-press it. And again, for the pre-press, I'm just holding it here. I usually don't give it a full pressy press. Okay. Sorry, I have 9 nieces and nephews. By the end of this year, I will have 12. So if you hear me say dumb stuff like pressy press, blame the kids. Okay, so this is our dark transfer paper, and I have already peeled it off. I showed you guys that. So now, here's what I recommend. Get your stuff ready, right? Especially if you have a hot lower platen. After a few presses, the lower platen does get pretty warm. So here's what I like to do. I like to do a reverse peel so it doesn't curl up. So I'll kind of find the edge, right? Make sure you guys can see this. I'll find the edge. And what I don't do is you don't want to peel like up and off because then this will like it'll curl. So what I do like to do is I'll just kind of roll it away off the back. I'll do that. That way this doesn't curl and I could lay it really nice. Now, if you're looking at this, you'll notice that right here on the right, my contour cut was slightly off by like legit less than a millimeter. Like, what is that? Like 1/4 of a millimeter? I don't know. Very, very, very thin, but it's visible. So what I do, and I'll have to do a tutorial on this. Actually, I think I do already have a tutorial on this. Is I'll set the cutter to actually cut a little bit on the inside, so that way it's a solid. That way you don't accidentally get any slight white lines on the board. But anyways, so this looks great. We're gonna put it on our t-shirt. It's sitting flat. And we're gonna go for it. What I do like about dark transfer paper, and I should explain this really quick, is again, we have the white of the t-shirt, the white of the material providing the background. So your colors are vibrant as heck, looking really darn good. And so the ink sits on top, and on the other side here, this is the adhesive. This is what's gonna stick it to the t-shirt. Just gonna put that on. We're gonna slide it in. We got 30 seconds on the clock, medium firm pressure, 375 degrees. One sweaty t-shirt instructor, heat press instructor. And yes, I'm going back to the desk right after this, answer all your guys' questions. I appreciate you for joining me on this heat transfer paper journey. Oh, well, I'll tell you right now, we got 5 seconds left. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna open that up, slide this out. I think right there should be, you can see that, yep. Now, there's a few different schools of thought. Some people, I think the recommendation is you don't peel it hot, you peel it like warm or peel it cold. Do what you want. Whatever you do, don't peel it like immediately, okay? I usually give it about 15, 20 seconds before I peel off the transfer paper. And this might just be like an idiosyncrasy. I don't know if it actually affects the final product. I just feel like it does. So that's what I do. So that's what I'm going to recommend to you guys. If you have other methods, please share it in the comments. So I'll wait about 15, 20 seconds. And then just peel it right off. Boom. And that is on there. Now, here's one thing you do want to be mindful of with your dark transfer paper. While it's warm, it's still a little pliable. So whatever you do, do not fold this until it has completely 100% cooled down. Anytime I'm working with dark transfer paper, I'll carefully, and what I do, I'll just do this, right? And I'll carefully like pick it up and take it over somewhere. Actually, I could just put it right here because you could see this, right? Can you see that? Yeah. And I'll have it sit flat. Let it cool flat. That way you don't, because if you let it cool, if you let it sit wrinkled and it cools down, like it kind of gets stuck like that. Like how your mom used to tell you, if you make your face like that, it'll get stuck that way. Well, that actually happens with this stuff. So you definitely, and I'll put it back up here so we can see it. So you definitely want to let it cool. But dude, this is very cool. Now, is this retail quality? I probably just a little bit less. But if you're making like stuff for events, like a kid's birthday, dude, all day. Because I guarantee you they're not going to be, well, the kid might, but like the parents are not going to be wearing the kid's birthday shirt again. So it's kind of like promotional stuff, event stuff. Very, very cool. And then as long as you let your customers know, say, hey, I can get it done for you. I can put this cool color image on a dark shirt and I'll be, it'll be cheaper than going to a DTG guy. But just so you know, it's gonna be promotional quality. So it might start to show signs of wear after about a dozen washes or so. You definitely wanna let them know about the wash. Let them know as well. Like, hey, also when you wash it, make sure you turn it inside out, cold water, tumble dry low, blah, 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 blah. But all that being said, this looks freaking cool. This shirt looks amazing. I'm really proud of how these shirts came out, and I got the white one here. These look incredible. What's really good for these as well is for prototyping. And I'm gonna come back to the desk. We're gonna take some questions, hopefully share some good answers. And yeah, let's talk. Okay, so I'm back and I'm warm and it's hot and I'm back. Okay, so one really great application for this is prototyping. Maybe you're about to order 1,000 transfers, but you want to make sure that they're sized properly. You want to make sure that whatever you send over, let's say you're going to one of these new places like Supacolor or whatever, but you want to make sure it's actually going to look good and be sized properly before you get your 600 transfers from them, right? So, prototype. Looks great. You can even use these for product shoots. Like, let's say, hey, you're gonna pre-order, you know, and oh my gosh, if you have your own t-shirt line, I love pre-orders because you get everybody's money in advance, and then you could use that to fund the purchase of the transfers, all right? But you wanna take some product shots, right? Boom. Dude, look how cool this is, man. This is super dope. These look great. Yeah, you can prototype your transfers before you actually get them. Make sure the sizing is good, the colors are good. Make sure you actually like the way it looks on a t-shirt. Some stuff looks great on my computer. Once I prototype it onto a t-shirt and I wear it, I'm like, shirt's stupid. so you know, there's lots of great reasons to use heat transfer paper, and where it really shines. And again, the white version of this t-shirt, retail quality, this, I guarantee you, well, this is exactly what this is. 4.5 years later, still wearing it, still looking good. So as long as the t-shirt doesn't get stained or holes, which is a miracle for this shirt, by the way, you're good, dude. You're really good. So, okay, let's see if we got some questions here. I'm on YouTube. Elizabeth Baxter saying she finally made it live. Whoop! Yeah, thanks for joining. Juan Carlos is asking for durability, is best Teflon or parchment paper? For the white garments, does not matter. Actually, I take that back. If you're gonna do the cold peel and the repress, go for parchment paper. Actually, for both of them, I'd say go for parchment paper. Now, if you use the Teflon sheet on, I use Parapi Dark Pro today, but if you're working with like Nina 3G Jet Opaque and you use a Teflon sheet, you'll get a glossy finish. So that could be cool. It could not be cool. In general, same I guess for the light transfer too. If you do the repress, or if you press it with Teflon, it'll have kind of a glossy appearance. If you do it with parchment, it'll look a little bit more matte. So that's probably the best way to determine what's going to work best for you. Okay, more questions. What kind of paper is this? Scroll up in the comments. I just shared the paper and the links. So again, for the lights, it's Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch, and for the darks, it's Parapi Dark Pro. Although we do have more options available. These just happen to be my two favorites, and by some great cosmic, coincidence, they both press at the exact same time and temperature, which makes demos easy as heck. Okay. Stephen Miller says, leave the dark transfer until it's totally cooled down. Yeah, that works. I peeled it a little early, some would say. But yeah, I should actually do a test press where I just let it just sit. I don't even peel it, don't even touch it till it's completely cooled down. Okay, Abstract Discovery saying pre-order is live. Yes, dude, pre-orders. Again, if you have your own shirt business and you want to launch a new t-shirt, do a pre-order. Pump it up for you don't really want to go more than like 2 or 3 weeks. But like say, hey, taking pre-orders this week, items will ship, blah, blah, blah. So the pre-orders, what they do is they pay for your transfers, not just for the pre-ordered shirts, but for all the future shirts. So when then you get future orders afterwards, your transfers are already paid for with the pre-orders. So pre-orders are great. Okay, let's go over to Facebook really quick here. Any cool questions? Let's see. Oh, okay, so this is the magic question. So today I've been talking about inkjet heat transfer paper, but Jason Partani saying, would you recommend this or the Uninet eye color? Well, white toner transfers are a totally different monster. All right, we actually have videos. Go over on our YouTube channel, look through our playlists. We have a couple of playlists with our different white toner transfer videos, and there's lots of great creators out there who have been, the white toner companies, especially Uninet, they've been really pushing a lot of YouTube creators to test out their products, and they've been getting great reviews. We do carry Uninet, so make sure you hit us up. But white toner, that's a totally different monster. And retail quality, I love white toner printers. I don't have enough time in this session to talk about it, but I will encourage you to do your research, asking in our Facebook group again. Actually, let me put the Facebook group up. Oh no, not that one, not that one. Where are we? There we are, okay. Trying to figure this out. There we go, okay. Go to our Facebook group, we have lots of info there. And yeah, so I mean, personally, if I could afford it, I would get a white toner printer like today. I would, if it wasn't a sin, I would steal one from here. Then I'll get fired. There's no point in that. But yeah, white toner printers are the way to go. They're really amazing. But they start at like $3,000. Whereas that inkjet printer is like $200. And I know you can get cheaper ones. So that one's $200. A pack of paper, a 50 pack of light transfer paper is like $29 or something like that. Let's see. Let's see. Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch it's $29 for a pack of 50 sheets. So just in paper, you could make 50 of these transfers for $29. And of course, there's free shipping. HeatPressNation.com, free ground shipping. So, you know, $29 plus tax, depending on what state you're in. Dude, that's a steal compared, you know, you print it on your $200 printer. To re-ink these with the stock ink is like $90. And there's cheaper inks out there, by the way. You can get remanufactured cartridges, re-ink the whole thing for like $40. So yeah, compare that to $3,000 and it's like, dude, that's why, again, inkjet heat transfer paper its strengths are really, really incredible. Personally, there's no cheaper way to do this right here. Solid graphic on a white cotton t-shirt. Dude, all day. I love my pals at Sawgrass, but this beats Crumble Blast. You didn't hear it from me. I probably shouldn't have said that. Sorry, guys. Their sublimation printers they blow my mind with how amazing they are. But yeah, so everything has its place. If you can afford the eye color, go for it. Okay, sorry. Tangent right there. Evelyn's asking, reverse print for soft stretch for white. Do not reverse. Oh, yes, of course. Do not reverse for your dark transfer paper. Canon inkjet versus unit. Oh, yeah, I just kind of explained my stance on that. Oh, my pal Stevie Steve showed up a little late. Bro. Oh, worries, my bros. So we used, for the light, we used Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch. And then for the darks, we used Parapy Dark Pro, same graphics, same everything, both contour cut on the Canon Plus, which you don't see on stage here today, but I did use the new Canon Plus, Cameo Plus, Silhouette Cameo Plus, which I love. I love the Plus. Once my Cameo 3 dies, I am getting the Plus. I like the Pro. The Pro's cool, don't get me wrong. Pro is just too big. It's too big. I love the Plus. Okay. Oh, my screen went black. Oh, that was a few minutes ago. Oh, I know, because the camera I was using was a little wonky. Okay, any other questions here? Okay, Isaac is asking what's best for Sawgrass. So for Sawgrass, honestly, I just use TextPrint XPHR. And actually, I'll link you, because I do remember that one off the top of my head. Heat.press/TextPrint XPHR. Yeah, so if you're doing sublimation, you know, of course, again, this is a 100% cotton t-shirt. If you're doing sublimation, you want to be using 100% polyester. Although I have found, and I don't have them right here with me, I found Toltex has this, and Toltex is a TSC apparel. Toltex has this 65% poly, 35% cotton shirt I like it. I like it a lot. So if you can get your hands on some of those 65 poly shirts, those are really good. You know, if you're not into the way 100% polyester feels, you like cotton, the Toltex 65% poly shirts, those are pretty dope. I like those a lot. I don't have it with me, but I'll share a picture in the group as soon as I can get my hands on those. I wash tested it and they look great. Okay, I think that's gonna be it for all the questions. Let me do one last sweep real quick. Any new questions? Oh, great question from Keegan Roberts. Is pigment ink the best ink to use for inkjet heat transfers? Yes. So, inkjet heat transfers, most printers are gonna come stock with dye-based ink. And it gives you better resolution, but pigment ink, even though, honestly, you and me, normal humans, without microscopes, we're not really gonna notice the resolution difference, all All right, I'm just gonna put that out there. You probably won't know the difference. But the pigment ink does last a little bit longer, a little bit more able to withstand like UV. So if you're out in the sun a lot and you're using pigment ink, it'll probably last a little bit longer. The difference is so minimal that I don't really take the time to like make sure you get pigment ink. No, I think it's if you have the pigment ink, awesome, more power to you. They're probably gonna last a few more washes than the dye-based inks. But yeah, pigment is better if you can get your hands on it. If not, no worries. I printed this with dye-based ink. Again, 4.5 years ago, dude. Like, I love this t-shirt, and I absolutely love inkjet heat transfer paper, especially for the light Nina Jet Pro Soft Stretch. I will die on this hill. All right, I love this stuff. Okay. Roll Arch saying, did I use sublimation inks or stocking? Today I use, so that Canon printer, I use that exact one, which is an inkjet printer, and I believe it has stock ink in it. If not, we use remanufactured ink, which is technically worse, but honestly, the magic is in the paper. So I'm not gonna discount, you be using good quality ink. But yeah. Sublimation's a whole different monster. It's a totally different process than what we showed today. If you're interested in sublimation, check out our YouTube channel. We have tons of videos on sublimation. We have tutorials. We have all that great stuff. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for me today. I thank you guys so much for joining us. All the invisible ghosts up here. Thank you so much for joining me today for this live episode. I love inkjet heat transfer paper. I'm glad I finally got a chance to talk about it, do some demos, show it off. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments below. Even if you're watching the replay, we monitor our comments pretty close. So we'll do our best to get you a great answer. And yeah, don't forget, you see it right there on your screen. Join our Facebook group, heat.press/FB group. That's the place to be. All the cool kids are there, I'll tell you that. And do that. What else? I always feel like I'm forgetting something. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate it. Other than that, be safe, be kind to everybody, and I'll see you guys a little bit later next week. All right, adios, everybody.